Hello, my friends. Welcome to the show. This is the place where we share ideas and strategies on how to advance in your life, business, and career by using the knowledge and skills you already have. I believe that the true power to overcome obstacles and rise above our adversity is drawn from within ourselves. Developing belief in self and building self-confidence is an absolute must for every person who wants to live an impactful life. I'm your host, Manzo Jr, and I'm honored to be your coach today. Hello, everyone. Welcome to the show. I'm your host, Manzo Jr, and today I have an amazing guest. His name is Dr. Vic, and Vic is a business mindset coach, but he's way more than that, and you're going to hear his story here in a second. He's a high-energy guy, very enlightened, and I know you're going to benefit from this. So, Dr. Vic, welcome to the show.
Oh, Isaac, my pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me, my friend.
Fantastic. So let's get to it. Tell us, who are you?
You know, I love this question when I get it so many times. And the answer is actually very simple. I am an individual who is someone who is just really curious about life. I love the inner workings of life. I love how this whole experience is evolves and how each human is different in their own way, how we are different universes. So, you know, you have your universe, I have mine. There may be some cross connections there, maybe some that are polar opposites, but that difference makes us unique in our own way. And just to understand how the inner workings, I'm always wanting to learn more about that in every aspect. So this is not just from a mindset perspective, but it's like in relationships, your health, money, the inner workings of every aspect of life. I love to learn and just having that kid-like mentality. I'm always curious, and it has helped me learn so much and enriched my own life. But at the end of the day, if I had to sum it all up to one word, it's just seeking fulfillment. And that's something that I'm working on with myself to get to the highest level I possibly can. And then as I do, and the things I learn, I love to share that with others.
Yeah. Wow. I love that. That's just a lot of rich information right there and enlightenment. So I'd like to dig in a little bit before we got into this recording. You told me about a kind of a conversation you had with your mother when you were 12 years old. Can you tell us about that?
Yeah, there was a time I was talking with my mom and something just hit. I was having like a deep connection with myself, and I looked at her and I just said, "Hey, Ma, I'm going to figure out this thing called life. I'm gonna figure it out." And she just looks at me and she's like, "Okay, yeah, all right, that's it." She goes, "I got probably checked off in her head. I have a dreamer as a son." Mm-hmm. But, you know, it's always been, again, it's just something that I was so curious about at a young age that I wanted to figure out. And I would say to this day, I'm not saying I have it all figured out, but I know a lot about it to where we can really create some transformation and to lead more fulfilled lives and how to break away from something I call the matrix or the conditioning to allow us to, lead more fulfilled lives.
Yeah, I love that. So what do you think triggered that for you feeling like, okay, I'm going to be able to figure out life? You are 12 years old. Most of the 12-year-olds really don't think about that. So what do you think triggered that?
You know, my life was very constricted and controlled in some ways. I grew up, I had to be a people pleaser. I couldn't say things that upset people. Like if, God forbid, if I said something that upset my grandparents, my mom, parents, or my great grandparents, or my aunt and uncle, whoever it may be, I had to stay this fine line all the time. And there was that attribute. But the other part is, why did people sometimes have an easier life than others? Why is it that some athletes were better than others? I was very curious about that because my life, I didn't have that, right? We seek what we don't have. We want things that we don't have. And so I had those voids and I want to understand, why did I have those voids? And I want to understand the inner workings of why they were there. I always believe everything happens I was always told everything happens for a reason. And so then I was like, well, why is that there? I don't get why I have to save up my own money sometimes to pay for things that I want. Because my parents, they live paycheck to paycheck. And so there's things that I, took on myself. So that's where that kind of came from. I was just like, I want to know why people are poor and people are rich. I mean, that's what really was the foundation to it all.
Yeah. You know what? I like that. And it reminds me a portion of my life, childhood growing up. And you said something very profound, that we also want to have the things we don't have. Other people have these things, maybe nice clothes and good cars and good houses and the stuff we don't have. And it reminds me of a conversation I had with my mother. It was not as profound as yours. And I was around that age. I was in 5th grade. And my mother sat me down and she said, we live in a very poor environment. I grew up in Africa, Kenya, and I grew up in the village, in a place where there was not enough food, no clothes. I mean, it was just a very dark place. And she said, you're really good at school. You're good with books, but you play too much. And I know if you can focus in school, you could potentially go to high school, go to college, get a job, and maybe you're going to be the person who is going to save us from this environment. Now, you have to know that I'm not the firstborn in my family. I'm the fifth born. I have 2 older sisters, 2 older brothers, and I have 2 younger brothers. And I was the fifth born in my family. So being told that, I was very young, but I got the message. It put a lot of weight on me, even though I was very young. And I took those words into my heart, and I stuck in school. And I did so well, really, from 5th grade all the way to 8th grade. Nobody beat me in class, and I went to high school and I did very well. So I'm glad that my mother had that conversation with me. And, again, if this is something that's of interest to you, I've been able to do that. Just help my family, take my brothers through school. My mother is doing very well. It's just one of those moments that you don't know where it came from, but my mother was inspired to tell me that. So you're right. We get to go after the things that we don't have. And even in my life today, I always feel like, okay, I need to help more people. I need to do this and I need to do that. So here's something that I'm really, really interested in. You've gone through several transitions in your career as well. And this is similar to my story, which I'll tell you here in a second. So you went to school for one thing, and then, of course, because of your curiosity and try to figure out life, now you're doing something totally different, maybe closely related. So can you tell us about that career transition?
Yeah. I mean, I had, I've always, when I went to take a one step back, even before that, I went to Arizona State to be a computer science major. And after a year of my health declining and seeing what chiropractic do for me, then I made that shift to go, okay, well, I guess this whole Arizona State life and be going into computers and all that stuff is changing. So I went back home, graduated. I mean, I went to school in Chicago and graduated there. But I chose to become a chiropractor. And I went through chiropractic school, and that was great. But, there was always, in chiropractic, there is a philosophy. It's made out of a philosophy, art, and a science. And so in chiropractic, one of the things we do as chiropractors is we make adjustments and we remove something called a subluxation. Mm-hmm. Fancy word. It just means a miscommunication between the brain and the body, or the body and the brain. And when they talked about it a lot, they always said 80% of the time, this comes from 1895, 80% of the time, it's caused by a mental emotional stressor. We know that to be very true in this day and age. We have the science to back that up 100%. And so I was like, man, mental, emotional. So how do we get into that? Right. And here comes the mind, right? Life always leaves you clues of where you're supposed to go. Yep. And so I started looking at that, and I was like, wow, I want to learn more about the mind. I want to learn about quantum physics. And I started getting into energy medicine. I wanted to learn the depths of all this stuff so I can understand healing better. That's why I was doing it, because in school it was very medical. And I was like, this is not the philosophy I was taught about universal laws and how the forces work in the universe and the body and this beautiful thing we have called innate intelligence, which is otherwise known as the soul, and all these things. And so I went that route, but that opened up a whole door to understanding the depths of a lot of things. And then I started to look at patterns. So that's where I started to put things together, because I was very intrigued about the mind. I realized that working with patients, and we're seeing it was their mindset of where they were in their life that was causing a lot. If I had a depressed patient, I could just see it right off their body language. And so it's like, how do you tap into that to get the light switch to see something different? And for the patients I was able to, from a mental component, all of a sudden you could see a huge shift in their energy and how they were. So that's when I was like, I'm going to apply these things in my life and see how I can change my business, career, everything, relationships, health, you name it. and it worked out really well. And then that's when I was like, you know what, I love this thing called coaching. I feel like I can make a deeper impact in people's lives more than what I can do as a chiropractor. And so I made the switch. I started it a little over 3 years ago, almost 4 years ago now. And from that journey, I'm on a whole new adventure now, from being a chiropractor to now being a business mindset coach, helping individuals to realize that they can choose life on their own terms. You don't have to sacrifice. You don't have to be built into the conditioning or the matrix, I like to call a lot. You can actually choose how you want to have your success, and then utilize principles of mindset, leveraging your mind, leveraging the universe, understanding how these things interconnect and work. So that way you can learn from this, because it's not here's 5 things to tell you how to choose the life you want on your own terms. That's not going to work for you. It may work for some, but it's not going to be individual. And I really appreciate chiropractic because it's an individual approach, and that's how I do my other stuff. And so it's more of understanding just, what is it that you want to create? Because you are a creator. You've heard this many times in personal development, self-help. So how do we initiate that to be true?
You won't regret it. Isaac helped me tackle my biggest professional challenge. We explored the challenge, why it was a challenge, changed my approach, and made a plan. Boom! Problem solved. That was Morgan Gares, Care Transition Coordinator at St. Croix Hospice. The medical sector can be a tough one to help in, but Isaac came alongside and guided Morgan and the rest of the team every step of the way. He can guide you too. Check out dynamomethods.com to find out more about what he could do for you. Now, the rest of the show.
Yeah. So again, I'm trying to keep up here. So
sorry,
I was speaking several things. No. I love this. I really love this. It's so mentally stimulating. 2 key things that I picked up. You talked about leveraging your mind, leveraging the universe, leveraging the resources that you have. And the basic English that I know about leveraging is being able to tap into the resources and kind of having a multiplier mindset. Okay. Yeah. You can leverage other people's time. You can leverage your mind, which is basically infinite. That's really great, because when you look at the individual approach, in this case, you talked about the chiropractic practice. That's good, and you get to give that personal touch and that personal attention. But for someone like you who got curious at 12 years old and how life works, it'll be kind of selfish just to focus on the individual care when you have the ability to step out there and help as many people as possible. The second thing that I picked was really being able to step out there, because it's not easy. And it's very scary, really, for a lot of people to, when you go to college, computer science, then you change your major to something else, and then you realize, okay, this is not even the thing that I'm looking for, and now you go to something else. That takes a lot of courage, and I really respect you for that. So this brings me to the next question. There are a lot of people who want to move from what they're doing right now. Either they're in a career that they're not satisfied, they're not fulfilled, or maybe they're making all the money they need, but they feel they can do more. They can make a bigger impact, but they're a little bit scared. And I'm asking this question because you're a business mindset coach. So I know you deal with people who have this kind of a fog in their minds. What do you think is the cause? What are some of the things that cause that kind of fear? How come people are just afraid to take that step, however small it is?
It's when it comes down to that aspect of letting fear hold you back, there's a limiting belief of some sort. You're not worthy enough of it. Maybe there's self-sabotage, right? Yep. You know what you can do, but you're like, I'm not going to do that because of XYZ, and you're sabotaging your future. There's also the fear of failure and the fear of success. Those are the 4 big ones that I see often. And a lot of times fear of success is the biggest one, because we don't know how long it's going to last. I'm going to have this fear of success, but what's going to happen here? Or how am I going to be able to handle all this? Or how am I going to do all these different things? But at the end of the day, if you understand that the other side of fear is the freedom you seek. And the other side of fear is, the life that you really want to have. Because if you understand that fear is a dream killer, right? Once you understand that principle, then it's like, okay, it's good to go back and understand why. What's the feelings that are coming up? So a lot of the work I do is on feeling. So I have to get out of people's minds. We're way too on the intellectual side.
Yep.
It's not a bad thing to have, but the key factor is we have to get into the feeling. Because if you want to be able to break the limiting belief, if you want to break and reprogram your subconscious mind, if you want to make those shifts, you got to go how it was programmed. And it was based on a feeling. It wasn't based on someone who told you something. Because even if someone told you something, I had someone tell me this and like, well, no, because if someone told me something, I remember what they said. I'm like, you may remember the words, but the reason why you remember the words is because the effect of what it created on the feeling you had from those words. And that's why you remember them. And so you go into that place of understanding and just seeing what shows up. Why is this holding me back? Why am I allowing this to take over me? Why am I allowing to choose this, to give power to this? And this is where leveraging the universe or the mind or those things work, because once you realize how much you give your power away, which many people do, that's why they don't achieve the lives they want or choose in the terms they like to have, or just don't have the happiness they want. When you start to realize that you give your power away, now all of a sudden you start to pull your power back to you. This is just energy. You call it life force. There's many names to this.
Yep.
But when you're able to do that, all of a sudden now you're actually giving power to what you want. You're giving electricity to the whatever it is that is going to run off that you create.
Yeah, that's cool. Now, of course, you help a lot of people, and would like our audience to find a way to tap into the resources that you have. And I checked out your website. I've talked to you. I know you're rich of information and insights. So can you describe for me the kind of people that usually come to you or gravitate towards you, or the people that you really want to help? Business mindset coaching is wide, but if we are to narrow down to maybe a few attributes or maybe the struggles that they have or what they're looking for, how does that person look like?
It's any entrepreneur who's looking to achieve their dream life without the sacrifice that comes with time, money, health, and family. It's somebody who wants to choose success on their terms and have more fulfilled life. And I'm using broad terms because if I say what fulfillment is, that's my definition. That's not yours.
Yeah.
Right. So, or I could say dream life, right? Another broad term, but my dream life is probably probably different than your dream life. Would you agree?
Yeah. Yeah, that's true.
So then it's just whatever, I help whatever it is that you want to choose to create in your life. We put that system together to make that happen. That usually works. I usually work with business owners and entrepreneurs when it comes to that. I do have other things I do also to help people who aren't business owners who want to learn how to, usually money is a big one. And I teach very universal. So I talk about it from a money perspective, but I talk in the course about like how you can utilize these principles in your relationship, with your health, with your business, career, whatever that is. So I offer like for online courses and stuff like that to get access to those things too.
Yeah. And thank you for doing that. Now, there's one little question that I almost forgot to ask. For someone who really wants to take that step, they want to make a change. They want to go through a transition. They want to be more fulfilled, leverage time and universe and the energy that they have. What's one advice that you can give them just to take the first step to get started? What do they need to do?
The biggest thing, the most powerful thing that helped me in my life, and I work with all my clients on this, is the first thing we work on. What is your main purpose? I shouldn't say purpose. What's your main vision in life? Now, when I say main vision, why are you here? Now, for some people, they may go, I don't even know. I don't even know. And the reason why that's very critical is you have to understand that like my main purpose in life here, the reason why I exist is to help with anyone that I work with to help raise the consciousness level of who they are so they can remember the greatness that they are, right? Yeah. That's my main purpose in life. Now, why is that critical to know? Is because every action that you do, whether it be in relationship, business, money, career, finances, and health, all these other attributes of life have to align to that in some way. This is all about leveraging the mind now, leveraging the universe and how the universal laws work. Because when you're more in alignment, you have more power, you can experience more of what it is you seek. Yep. And so having crystal clarity of a vision, all of a sudden, that every action that aligns to that, now you create congruency. When you have congruency, now the confused mind will always say no. It's a marketing principle. Yep. Well, the universe kind of works the same way. If you give it a confused message, it doesn't know what to give you. Yep. So when you have your vision, you're saying, this is where I want to go. You don't have to worry about the house. This is my purpose. This is my vision in life. This is why I'm here. And you start to tie in attributes, but maybe a business. Okay, why do you want to have that business? Does it connect to your main purpose? You see, all of a sudden it solves a lot of the questions or the distractions, and you can be more hyper focused and specific, which again leverages the universe, something called the law of focus. Wherever you put your energy to, you're going to create more of. So now you're starting to utilize different principles to maximize your intention of what it is you want to create.
I love that. Thank you. Thank you for sharing that. So I would like to get your website, and of course it's going to be in the recording. It's going to be written down very clearly. But tell us what's the name of your website that people can go to so that they can book that free coaching session and explore some of the other resources that you have.
Yeah, you can go to empoweryourreality.com. We have the button right up on top. You'll see you get to know more about me. You can set up a time to connect, and we can set up a 30-minute phone call to just have a conversation, see where you are, what do you want to do, what's your dreams, what's your goals, and let's see if I can be the right fit for that person to help you in that process.
Fantastic. I'm sure anyone who goes to your site and get to chat with you, really, they're going to have a blast. So Dr. Vic, thank you so much for being on the show. Looking forward to connecting with you in the future.
Oh, brother, thank you so much. It's all my pleasure.
That was Isaac Wamboa, founder of Dynamo Methods. And if what he and his guest talked about sounds like a problem you're having too, stop by dynamomethods.com to find out more. You can book a complimentary 45-minute virtual training for your team. Or you can learn more about group workshops on team leadership, sales, communication, and much more. Don't wait. Let Isaac show you how to step into greatness today.